It all started with Ben picking up a fish, looking at the camera with a little smirk on, and everyone's like, all right, just toss it back in the lake, Ben. Just toss it back in the lake, Ben. It'll be easy.
I forgot about this.
And it is the most half-assed toss you've ever seen. The fish just thuds to the ground, and that was basically the title chances for the Sixers in the bubble.
I'm going to let you go first. Yeah, you can kick us off.
Yeah, of course. Because look, I'm not going to take everyone in the NBA playoffs. I'm not going to take all 22 teams that were in the bubble. I'm not going to say all 100 and some odd days that they were in the bubble. I'm going to take one specific moment, which happened to happen in the bubble, which happened on the set of TNT. It happened at halftime, and it happened with our guy, Charles Barkley. And he posited the question to the panel around him, and he said, can the players see the fans? And everyone looked at him like, what, Charles? And he said, the virtual fans that they have up there, can the players see those people? They can't, right? And then, Shaq, his response, he says, oh my God, Auburn.com, AuburnEducation.com. Charles Barkley gets mad. He says, it's not a dumb question. But of course, there are screens, as Ernie points out, there are screens, Charles. You can see the virtual fans on the screens. And that is my number one bubble moment, because that was the best question that Charles Barkley could have asked. It was such a beautiful moment talking about how weird we are, the virtual experience of basketball at this point in 2020. So my number one draft pick, Charles Barkley asking the question, can the players see the virtual fans?
It seems,
and yes, they can.
All right, that's a good start to the draft. I like that one. All right, my number one is I feel like this is what I'm going to remember most about the maybe not, I don't know, but this is how I feel right now. We're less than a week removed from a champion being crowned in this thing. But I feel like this is going to be my enduring memory from the bubble, and it is Lou Williams going to a strip club to get wings and jeopardizing his eligibility, his team's eligibility. Because at the time, remember, no one quite knew what the protocol was. You knew they had to quarantine, but you didn't know if he was going to be sick. You didn't know if he was going to go back, and is he going to follow quarantine? Is he going to get someone else sick? And I don't know, all the question marks and the fact that he left the bubble he was attending his grandfather's funeral, I believe. That was why he left the bubble.
Yeah, family matter.
Very serious issue, very sad situation. And then he, on the other end of the spectrum, he chose to use his time going to the strip club. How he was discovered was funny, or how it was revealed that he was there was what was the rapper's name? I forget the guy's name. Some rapper dude was posted him on.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was, but yeah,
I can't keep.
I just like the nickname that came out of it, Lemon Pepper Lou.
Pepper Lou.
That can't be topped.
And then I love that. I had to look this up because I had a vague memory of it, but there was a fan that just defended him on Twitter that was like, Lou Williams goes there all the time. He really does just go there for the food.
Yeah, it's a country club
wings.
For him. Yeah.
It's a country, it's not that serious, y'all. Whatever. And then Lou Williams quote tweeted that fan and said, leave it alone. Just enjoy the memes, LOL, which was fantastic. And we did enjoy the memes.
Great number one pick. Those are two great number one picks. I love that. My number two pick is a basketball play. And I think it was my favorite play of the entire tournament, just because of the reaction of the man who hit the shot. And that man was a bubble breaker here on this podcast. And his name is OG Anunoby. And it was the inbounds pass from Kyle Lowry. It was the Nick Nurse play that he took from Hubie Brown. It was OG Anunoby hitting a three with 0.5 of a second left on the clock. Probably going to get swept by the Celtics, I would say, if they lost this game and went down 3-0. Seemed like the Celtics were pretty much running them in the series. They ended up winning the series in 7 games. But OG Anunoby, cold-blooded, has basically no reaction hitting the shot. It was a beautiful basketball play. It was perfectly executed in the clutch. And it also solidified the fact that Brad Stevens is officially on the fraud power rankings. And that was great to see. Nick Nurse had a great moment. So there it is. OG Anunoby, number 2 pick for me.
All right. My number 2 is I'm not ready to get to encore moments yet. I don't think.
I'm sorry. I just had to steal that one because
I don't think I'm ready. I have a lot of encore moments on my big board here, but I'm still. I got to go number 2 with the shotgunning beers battle between Myers Leonard and JJ Redick and others. This was early on. The NBA players arrive at the bubble. There's a lot of questions as to like what the hell is even going on with these guys? What are they up to? What is it? What is the bubble? We hear bubble, but what does that mean? What does that look like? What's the day-to-day look like? And Myers Leonard was like, I'll show you. And he shotguns Coors Light. Was he first or was JJ first?
I think it was Myers was first.
Yeah.
And then yeah. I think it went from there.
And anyway, it became a thing for like 3 days. Guys were just shotgunning beers left and right. And then this was before the games actually started. So.
This is what I like to call the bubble bliss period, where all the guys got inside the bubble. They were entrenched in the idea of Disney's magic. They were all like, this is fun. I'm by the pool. I'm fishing.
Yeah.
I'm chugging
they're on
beers.
vacation.
I'm playing. Yeah, they're on vacation. And then it turned into work around mid-August if you were there. Yeah. But during this period of time, everyone, like JJ's doing a podcast. He's like, I just launched a podcast network. Like he's in the middle of a bubble experience. It was great. It was this beautiful, happy time. It was the summertime. I remember it fondly. What a period. But Myers Leonard probably won this out, right? He
did. Yeah.
He proved he was like Central Illinois. Everyone's like, that guy wins. Well, that's going to segue into my number 3 pick. I'm going to get back off the basketball court and go to a man by the name. Well, I'm going to go to Bag, something that we know well in this program. But I'm talking cornhole this time, and I'm talking about Chris Paul. And Chris Paul played cornhole with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Darius Paisley, 2 young guys. And he basically, this is all on video. They're masked up. This is early on in quarantine. He beats them. He rubs it in their face. He lets them know that he is the bag god, the bag champion. And then later on, I mean, in that, I think it was the same day, maybe even, he goes on to hit the shot in overtime over Austin Rivers. And SGA hit a big 3 to get that game into overtime. So just that day span, you're probably going to say this is too expansive, but the Chris Paul cornhole experience leading into the big shots that he makes in games with those same said players. That is my number 3 draft pick for bubble experience, because the competitive nature that they created by throwing bags together. Chris Paul said, this is how you win. And then he executed on the basketball floor. It was all 1-to-1 in one experience. So the CP3 experience is my number 3 pick. That's what I would say.
I'm going to veto this.
Experience.
I think you can take the Chris Paul cornhole. Like you can't take all Chris Paul.
No, leading into the shot over Austin Rivers specifically, and the assist to SGA in the corner for 3 that led to overtime.
The game 7 against the Rockets, arguing with the refs and getting the
CP3 experience, but specifically these two passes and one shot, one pass, and a few cornhole tosses. And to bring it back to Myers Leonard, as soon as they posted this cornhole game, ESPN did. This is back in whatever July or June, whatever, or I guess it had to be a July. 8th is when they got there, I guess. So in July, Myers Leonard responded, was like, "I'll challenge anybody to bags," and just like Myers Leonard was there for the games.
I think Myers Leonard had
who's better at games, Tyler Zeller or Myers Leonard, because those 2 guys came down there to play.
My number 3. I gotta start sprinkling in some actual basketball here, because I got Lou Will getting wings, shotgunning beers. All right, I'm gonna go with I think this counts. Is this too expensive? If you're going to do the Chris Paul entire run, then I'm doing the Jamal Murray versus Donovan Mitchell rivalry.
Okay. Yeah. The 1-to-1.
Just that series. Yeah. The Nuggets, but specifically those 2 guys, not the series, those 2 guys going mano a mano. Jamal Murray in this series averages 31.6 points, 6.3 assists, 5.6 rebounds. He shoots 55% from the field. He shoots 53% from the 3-point line. He has 2 games where he scores 50 points. One of the best series, just that specific series from Jamal Murray was one of the best series that any player put forth in these playoffs. And he might have been the second best player in the series, because Donovan Mitchell averaged 36 a game, 5 assists, 5 rebounds. He also shot like 50 and 50 from the field. He also had 2 50-point games, Tate. The series goes to 7 games. The Jazz... there's the other wrinkle that Donovan Mitchell balls out in the first game. It's not enough. It goes to overtime. Jamal Murray wins. Then
videos.
He films. He films Donovan Mitchell eating afterwards. Like Donovan Mitchell
looks
like
we just beat him.
He looks like Urban Meyer on the golf cart eating the pizza, just sad. He's like, yeah, we beat him. How funny is this? And then Donovan Mitchell turns around, wins 3 straight, and it's like, oh damn, he's awoken the beast. But then not so fast. The Jazz blow the 3-1 lead. The series comes down to Mike Conley at the buzzer. If it goes in, the Jazz win. If it doesn't, the Nuggets win. It rims out, sadly. All right, that's my number 3. Your number 4 pick.
My number 4 pick was a moment that you said two greats as you were talking about the last two guys. And I think both these guys are two greats, but in their own way. And one of the reasons why Russell Westbrook is great is because Russell Westbrook is unwavering in the sense that Russell Westbrook never breaks. He never breaks his confidence. And I think if he ever does break his confidence, his career is probably going to be over. So down 29 points against the Los Angeles Lakers. He looked over to LeBron James, arguably, one of the greatest of all times. Some would say the GOAT. And he says, y'all better double me. Down 29 points. And LeBron did one of the greatest things. Like, the Jordan iPad moment was big this year as far as like laughing somebody off. And he's laughing off Gary Payton. Russell Westbrook says this, and LeBron in the game is just like, bro, what is happening here? You're down 29, but Russell Westbrook, unwavering confidence, as I said. It was a great moment, a great comedic relief, that we all needed in this series because they were going at it. And the Lakers were obviously the better team. But there you go, my number 4 pick.
My number 4, let's see here. I'm going to look at the big board. Oh, yes. I got to go with Luka's shot to beat the Clippers.
See, I'm very happy that's in our top 5 because I was going to pick it 5 if we didn't have it in our top 5 because that was probably the biggest moment, I would say. But great pick.
I'm picking that game 4 of the first round. The Mavs are down 2-1, so it's game 4 is always the big game in series because it's the way the math shakes out. It's either 3-1 or 2-2. So you see how that works. Game goes to overtime. Luka, as a reminder, has a sprained ankle. This is also his first game against the Clippers since Montrezl Harrell called him a bitch ass white boy. And then Ernie Johnson said the phrase bitch ass white boy. And then people took bitch ass white boy, Ernie Johnson saying it, synced it to Montrezl Harrell. And it's like the funniest clip that came out of the bubble. Yeah. Luka hits the shot to win at the buzzer. It was a true buzzer beater. We love those. It wasn't just a game winner. It was a true buzzer beater. But it also capped off a 43-point, 17 rebound, 13 assist triple-double for Luka Doncic. He had 7 turnovers, but turnovers are an illusion. They don't actually count. They're just they're a social construct. Nobody cares about those. So it was a great performance against a team that at the time everyone thought was a title favorite, if not the title favorite, and it tied the series up, and it got everyone excited. And then the Clippers ended up winning the next 2, and it was irrelevant, but whatever. And at the moment, it was like, oh my God, this is the moment of the bubble. All right, number 5 for you.
Number 5, it is the beard himself, the guy I just brought up when comparing to Luka Doncic, and he is a man that in Game 7 in Round 1, it was the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Houston Rockets. It was Chris Paul, old school point guard philosophy versus Mike D'Antoni and James Harden, Morey Ball. And James Harden makes a defensive play to win Game 7 in Round 1. He blocked. It's an ASU Sun Devil and Sun Devil crime. He blocks Lugensdort for 3. Lugensdort recovers the basketball. He says, oh, I'm going to make the smart basketball play like Chris Paul taught me. I'm going to throw it off his leg and get the ball back. James Harden said, I have once again beaten the game and beaten the system. I dodge. He dodges the ball, goes between his legs. Turnover. Rockets win. James Harden has the defensive moment he needs to prove, yes, I am a champion. I am going to round 2. And it was needed. I thought it was a great moment for James Harden. So that's my number 5 pick. James
it was
Harden,
a great moment.
The block and dodge.
It was also everyone who took that moment and said, see, James Harden does play defense.
Not quite.
I didn't really understand that because like James Harden, his ability to jump up and stick his hand up and contest a shot was never the issue when we talked about James Harden defensive abilities. It was like getting in a stance. It was playing help side defense. It was like understanding schemes. Like these were the problems that people have with James Harden defense. Not like, hey, the guy you're guarding is about to shoot the game winner.
Try to block it.
Can James Harden jump? Let's find out. There it is. I guess he can jump.
It was perfect because, like we said, everyone in the bubble was looking for validation or vindication, and that was his moment of vindication. He was like, I was right. I beat OKC. I beat CP3. And yeah, it didn't last very long. They won Game 1 against the Lakers. They had a nice high, and then it was all over. But James Harden did it. He stopped Lugensdort.
With my number 5 pick, I have been deferring to you. I've been waiting for you to take it because I felt like this is your pick, but you don't want it. I have to take it. I can't let it slide anymore. I am picking with my number 5 pick the Juiced Ponds. inside the bubble, something that you predicted on this program.
Mhm.
Again, this takes us back to the early. What did you say earlier? What was the phrase? The bubble, the like
The
early
bubble bliss
days?
period.
Bubble
Yes.
bliss period. Yes, this
Mhm.
was bubble bliss when the guys thought they were on vacation, and they're all fishing, and Luca's out there ripping lips and holding up his bass that he's catching, and
Mhm.
then Paul George is out there too. I forget all the guys that were fishing, but everyone's holding up the fish they're catching, all the largemouth they're catching. And they're massive, and
Massive.
and you called it out. You're like, I think they're juicing the ponds. I think they're putting like bigger fish in here just to get these guys' confidence up. Sure enough, we get confirmation during one of the games, during one of the broadcasts. It is pointed out that Adam Silver himself went out and just bought a bunch of bass and released them into the pond so that these guys could
Which begs the question: if they're willing to rig the ponds, what else are they willing to rig? Will they rig cornhole?
Yeah, no, sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's my pick. That's number 5 for me.
Well, I'm going to go off that because I would not let this guy be in my top 5. That's why I hadn't brought up the ponds, but he is the 6th man of my 10-person draft, and his name is Ben Simmons. And Ben Simmons picked up.
He was in the bubble?
Yeah, exactly. That's how this is absolutely during bubble bliss period. This may have started bubble bliss period, or maybe the dominoes to the end of a Sixers era that we all, I guess, knew and loved, but now it's over because we're on to Glen Rivers. But it all started with Ben picking up a fish, looking at the camera with a little smirk on, and everyone's like, all right, just toss it back in the lake, Ben. Just toss it back in the lake, Ben. It'll be easy.
I forgot about this.
And it is the most half-assed toss you've ever seen. The fish just thuds to the ground, and that was basically the title chances for the Sixers in the bubble. The number 6
Sixers
pick.
got swept.
Yeah, the Ben Simmons fish toss.
He didn't even play in the playoffs, right? He left the bubble, and the Sixers get swept. And
yeah.
God, the Sixers should have just left at that moment. The moment Ben Simmons misses the pond.
Yeah, like there's always the joke he can't throw it in the ocean. Ben Simmons literally could not throw it in the pond. And you're in the NBA. You hate to see that. And that is my number 6 pick. Couldn't even be in my top 5 because it was so bad. Yeah. But number 6, Ben Simmons.
Oh, that's hilarious. I completely forgot about that. This is great.
It's burned in my mind. Yeah.
This is the joy of this exercise.
Whenever I see the Ben Simmons, like Glen Rivers wants to get rid of Ben Simmons with Philadelphia, I just think that he remembers that because everyone does. It was too viral.
This is why we need one shiny moments. Is we got to recap. People are forgetting that all this happened. Okay, my number 6 pick. Let's see here. Let me see. What do I got? I'm gonna go with I don't know, just any of the Damian Lillard games. Just put him in a hat, pick one out, and I'm taking that.
Okay, so my number 3 pick is CP3, and your number 5 or number 6 pick is Dame Lillard.
I'm picking a specific game. I just don't care. I'll leave it to it's dealer's choice. Pick whatever game you want. I
love it.
Yeah, I'm picking Damian Lillard's entire run. How about his pre-playoff run? Okay, how about those last 3 games? I remember he had the 60-point game. That was against the Mavs, right? Mm-hmm. And then the game,
the Grizzlies game was the last game.
The Grizzlies game, I don't know, just one of those. I don't really care, but
let's say Grizzlies for Verno. So it was the Grizzlies game. Right. That was the game that I always point to.
But Damian Lillard, before the playoffs started, before the Blazers, they won Game 1 against the Lakers, and then
dislocated finger. People forget Dame Lillard got hurt.
But before the Blazers were semi-swept out of the playoffs, Dame Lillard in just the pre-playoff games, in the seeding games, he averaged 37.6 points per game and 9.6 assists per game, Tate. He was, like we were saying earlier with the Jamal Murray and Donovan Mitchell thing, Damian Lillard was at that level where you almost couldn't believe what you're seeing. But at the same time, nothing made more sense than Damian Lillard pulling up from 60 feet and hitting shot. He's basically at half court, just bombing threes, and it simultaneously melts your brain. How is he doing this? But also you're like, yeah, this makes complete sense because he's done this every single game, and I've seen this a million times at this point. I'll shrink it down to the final. I think it was the last 3 games. Yeah, it was. The Clippers, after the Clippers clowned him because he missed the free throws. So that counts as a moment of just 3-game
the Clippers
stretch.
Clowning. Yeah.
The Clippers clowning Damian Lillard when he misses the free throws. Patrick Beverley's laughing at him. And then that unleashed the beast, and Damian Lillard for those like next 3 games were all must win for the Blazers to even get into the playoffs. Just went absolutely. But people forget, by the way, that Karis LeVert had a shot at the buzzer to knock the Blazers out of the playoffs, and missed it. But still, yeah, I'm
Nobody
picking
wants to
Damian
hear
Lillard.
that. Everyone wants to just hear
Yeah.
Dame Lillard. He did everything and he saved the day. So, Karis LeVert, shout out to you. But yeah, it basically was the end of Pat Beverly and the Clippers potentially also, looking at the future right now. Like, just think about that. Like, if you had told someone at that moment that Pat Bev might not be the future point guard of the Clippers and Doc Rivers would not be the coach of the Clippers, they would say, wow, after losing to the Lakers, that's what happened. They blew it up. And you're like, just
Is
wait.
that when the wheels started to? Do you think that was the turning point for the Clippers as well? Was Patrick Beverly laughing on the bench, and then that doomed the Clippers, and it also unleashed Damian? I don't know. Makes you think.
It's in my head because I think I have the moment when the Clippers were done, and it started with the mystery that we have talked about for quite some time, and it of course is the Michael Porter Jr. mystery, and it started with a Michael Porter Jr. dunk over Montrezl Harrell. He basically did the Danny Green over Greg Paulus dunk where he just spreads his legs, puts his nuts right in your face, and jumps over you. Vince Carter was the only person to actually successfully dunk over somebody that way. Michael Porter Jr. threw this down. You and I looked at each other when this happened. We're like, one, the Nuggets look like they could actually win this series, or not the Nuggets look like they could win the series and beat the Clippers. And then also, it just was, oh my God, Michael Porter Jr. is an actual legitimate player. We think. So that's my next pick, Michael Porter Jr. mystery.
Also, part of the mystery, his dad being the only Nuggets fan. So good. So good. My number 7 pick, I am going with the mid-game interview mic poll thing that ESPN was using. I feel like we didn't acknowledge this. I feel like the fact that they kept with it throughout the entire run was absolutely hysterical. I every time they would cut in with it's the end of the first quarter, we're here with Brad Stevens, and if I'll use Rachel Nichols as an example. She wasn't the sideline reporter the entire time, but like Rachel Nichols would be like, we're here with Brad Stevens, and she would start asking the question, but like as you say, we're here with Brad Stevens, then the microphone would like swipe up and like be in Brad Stevens' face. We never saw the guy who was holding the microphone. It was, 20 feet long. So like the guy might have been outside the bubble, to be honest with you, the way that thing was working. But the whole thing was absolutely hilarious. They never backed down. Like that was like a protocol that was put in place. And you think at some point in this bubble experience, someone would have been like, all right, we're testing everybody 1,000,000 times. Like some of the other protocols are going away, like the sanitize your playing cards every time you touch them and no doubles ping pong. We like to laugh at those. Those kind of fell by the wayside. Guys were kind of breaking protocol a little bit, but I'll be goddamn, ESPN stuck with it. They're like, we are not under any circumstances, I don't know, letting the coach touch the microphone. Like,
keep him away. Yeah, back up.
Go ahead. Your number 8 pick, I guess.
Yeah, my number 8 pick is basically, I'm going to call it the Pat Riley perch. Which is basically whenever the Heat do anything of substance or anything good, there is a conversation about Heat culture. There is a shot to the bench of Eric Spoelstra. There's a reminder that Eric Spoelstra coached Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, LeBron James. There's also a reminder that the Miami Heat were not supposed to be here this year. And then there's a cutaway to a man in a mask with the perfectly combed back hair looking down as if he is the Godfather himself. And that is Pat Riley. And I feel like he dominated the bubble. He dominated the conversation. It was somehow able to commandeer the conversation in his favor, even though they did not win the NBA Finals. They got there. They basically were if we're doing moral victories, the Miami Heat won the biggest moral victory. Pat Riley obviously does not do moral victories, but that's pretty much what we would say. He got the biggest boost from this whole experience, other than maybe Jimmy Butler. So the Pat Riley perching would be my number 8 pick.
Number 8 for me, I would say the Bucks striking. Everyone says it was a boycott. I guess it was technically a strike against the Magic, and then having basically the whole league did not play games that day. I'm picking that moment. That was something we've literally never seen before in the NBA. That whole 24-hour period of like, oh my God, are they just going to end the whole bubble right now? And definitely worth mentioning that as something that happened in the bubble.
Exactly, and George Hill is probably the main guy to point to because he was the one that was heavy on his heart when everything was going down back in Wisconsin, and he,
Yeah.
they had Sterling Brown from SMU that we talked about in this program that had his own incident personally. So the Milwaukee Bucks were tied to that issue. They made a decision on their own terms to do this, and then shout out to the rest of the league and the rest of the players that they did the same in solidarity that day. And Michael Jordan obviously stepping in to have a conversation with the players. And trying to bridge that gap. That was really important. And yeah, it was a historical day. We on this program, we joke a lot and we like to have a lot of fun, but like when we write history books, those are days that will be discussed. And,
Yeah,
and
it really.
talked about.
I'm glad you said that. It is a historical day. So like, even if you want to be someone who argues that like what actually was accomplished by that, they played the next day. Like, does anybody really care that they, the ratings were down this year? Was anybody going to watch them? Whatever your argument might be, doesn't matter. It was still a historical thing. It's never happened before, in the NBA certainly. So, yeah, it was crazy. I don't know how else to put it. I remember, I remember exactly where I genuinely do remember where I was when I saw the news. So I don't know if that matters as much, but like, yeah, I read it. I was like, holy shit, they're really just like not going to come out. That's insane. So anyway, that's my number 8 pick.
Yeah, and it changed the conversation, and definitely it's hard to like put that in a draft, but like yes, that was like probably obviously the biggest seminal moment that happened.
The juice in the ponds is pretty big.
yeah, be up there, but we'll see about that.
No, yeah. Go ahead.
Well, here's another one that's really going to be up there. Going back to the TNT crew, coming out of the first round, the Miami Heat are playing really well against the Milwaukee Bucks, and we hear the MIA, we hear the drop playing, and Shaq asked the question to Ernie, and he says, Ernie, who is that? And he goes, it's Ricky Rose, Rick Ross. And he drops the pin. It's this beautiful moment, and it's just like, that's togetherness that we need. We need Rick Ross playing. We need the Heat playing good. We need everybody to know MIAO, 305, all the lingo, and Ernie Johnson nails it for the regular guy at home that's a sports fan, and Shaq loved it, and it was a beautiful moment, and that's number 9 on my list there. And Ernie always delivers, and he does it again.
There's nothing better than when Ernie understands certain references.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, yes,
yeah,
yes, Ernie.
And Shaq and Chuck and Kitty just go absolutely nuts. I saw what was the clip that someone reminded me of today was when Ernie said the phrase "I smash tricks" because he's talking about cereal, and he's talking about his favorite cereals, and he says like, "Yeah, I smash tricks," and Shaq's face is like, "Huh?" I'm gonna go with. I think I gotta go with Daniel House.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. I feel like one of us did. That was going to be my pivot at number 10 if we didn't. But
I think I got to go with Daniel House. I think, as I said, it's kind of in the same vein of the Lou Will thing. Just one of those things you thought was going to happen a million times in the bubble. Maybe it did. We only heard about this one though. That's the one that got the news. But the timing of it made it funny too. Is that like the Rockets the series was 1-1 at the time when this happened, and then Daniel House was out for Game 3. Which, like, if you're a Rockets fan, you say that he's a difference maker. If you're a Lakers fan, you point out that he scored 0 points in Game 1. So like, it's not like the series swung on this, but still, for our purposes, we like to ham it up and make this a bigger deal than what it is. We'll pretend like this potentially could have swung the series. Maybe the Lakers don't win the title because Daniel House had an illicit visitor.
My number 10 pick is probably kind of boring, but I feel like they deserve it because they're the Lakers. And Rondo was the one that made the pass. Game 2, 103-102. The Lakers are losing to the Denver Nuggets, to Jokic and Jamal Murray, the team that's hot, the team that everyone's afraid of. And Rondo inbounds the ball to Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis takes a 3. It was the checkmate moment, really, to say, hey, Jokic, Jamal Murray, you guys look unstoppable. But Anthony Davis and LeBron James are a little bit more unstoppable. And he hits the big 3. They win the game. That pretty much sealed the series in my mind for the Lakers to get the edge over the Nuggets, takes them to a title. And it's a basketball play that I remember from the bubble for sure. I feel like there was like the Luka shot, the Anthony Davis shot, the Booker shot that was in the 8-0 bubble run. Those were the 3 that kind of stand out to me. And I think Davis obviously was the most impactful. So I number 10 pick Anthony Davis.
Yeah, and Anthony Davis, as we said at the time, he he hadn't had like a playoff moment. Had he even been in the playoffs? I think one.
I mean, yeah, a couple times, but yeah.
But like no one remembered.
Lost to the Warriors in 6 games.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But Anthony Davis didn't have his Anthony Davis moment, as we said, and that provided it for him. So even as LeBron, it really just like showcased too the how good both of those two guys are. That like LeBron balled out. That would be the shame in this, is like LeBron balls out in the finals, gets the finals MVP. I know Anthony Davis played pretty well, but he had one stinker of a game in the finals.
I mean, not even kidding. I thought that he got hurt in every game, like just sincerely. So
that the shame in this would have been that all happens and like people look back on it as though like Anthony Davis was riding LeBron's coattails, right? When the reality is the entire season it was like a two-man thing, and there were times where all season Anthony Davis looked like the better player. Maybe he was, like, honestly. You can make an argument that Anthony Davis was the best player on the Lakers this year. Anyway, all right, let me round this thing up. Let me see. I want to go through my board here. So I have, you mentioned the Suns going 8-0. That doesn't count as a moment, I guess. We shout out Suns though. Clippers, we kind of already touched on that. The Buff. Let's see here. I'm gonna go with. I want to do something fun. We need another fun one. How about Dwight Howard going to the DJ party alone? Dwight Howard being the. How about we sandwich the Dwight Howard bubble experience with, like, on day 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever, he's going to the DJ party by himself. The
no
NBA,
mask on.
No mask on. The NBA hires these DJs to come play for the guys. And in the NBA's mind, there's just going to be these big parties with all the players because the guys love going to clubs. It's got to be the music that they love, right? That's got to be what it is. It's not.
It turns out that's Dwight. That's what he's there for.
Yeah, it turns out Dwight loves that. All the other guys at the NBA are like, no, Adam, that's not why we go to the clubs. Just for loud
especially
music.
if Dwight's there, and they're all like, yeah, definitely not them.
So Dwight Howard goes solo to the thing, and then fast forward 3 months later, Dwight Howard wins a championship, and he's on Instagram Live, and he's doing all the videos, and he's crying, and it's a happy moment, and then he accidentally shows text from his girlfriend, fiance, wife, whoever it is that he's kind of in a fight with. That was kind of funny too. But yeah, Dwight Howard going to the DJ party alone. The Bubble Bliss era was so fun. It was so fun. It was like that first week when everyone's trying to figure out what the hell is this. And by everyone, I mean the players included. And Dwight Howard thought that everybody was going to come to this thing. Dwight Howard was very wrong.
Yeah, he became the character of the bubble, I feel like. And he almost became beloved, but not fully embraced by the end of the bubble experience. It was kind of like, it feels very Meta World Peace, where everyone's like, all right, you hit the 3, Kobe passed you the ball. You know what I mean? Like, LeBron let you be on a championship team. Good job, Dwight, but like tone it down a little bit.
He had his moments on the court against the Nuggets when he get in there.
He hit a logo 3, which is a big F. Like a lot of people don't understand that was an F you to Steph Curry. And I saw it, and it was basically like even Dwight Howard can hit pull-up 3s now.
For the best access, perspective, and personalities in all of sports, follow us at Fox Sports on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.